Al-Sadr's ceasefire. Hello, everybody. I'm Jane Skinner. After leading a fierce rebellion against U.S. and Iraqi forces in Iraq, it seems Muqtada al-Sadr wants his fighters to lay down their arms. Through an aide, al-Sadr says he is ready to take part in the rebuilding of Iraq. He's expected to unveil a plan mapping out his participation in the political landscape. The move comes a day after al-Sadr's men began negotiations to end the violence in a poor Shiite section of Baghdad. NATO investigators have detained a man in connection with yesterday's deadly car bombing in Kabul. 10 people, including 3 Americans, were killed. The suspect was stopped at the Kabul airport. Americans and United Nations staff members have been advised to keep a low profile in case there are more attacks. Folks in Florida and the Carolinas are certainly keeping a close eye on Hurricane Francis. Francis is now in the eastern Caribbean, packing winds of about 125 miles an hour. It's estimated it could hit the U.S. by Labor Day. If Francis moves along its projected path toward the central Bahamas, it would be about 100 miles away from the Atlantic coast of Florida. 2 men are dead after their single-engine plane crashed through the front of a house in Montana. The pilot was practicing touch-and-go landings at a nearby airport, but he lost control. That plane narrowly missed a nearby church where services had just wrapped up. Nobody on the ground was hurt. And those are your latest headlines. Time now to send you back to Shep at Madison Square Garden and more. Studio B.
What's up, Skinny?
Oh, so I bet your whole day is made because you got to look into Bo Derek's beautiful blue eyes. You look so happy.
That was good.
I've never heard you so quiet either. You just let her talk and
I actually listened for a change, right? Hey, you know, I went to all these things last night, Jane. A couple of the congressmen had them. We went to them at the Democratic National Convention. So
I know it's part of your job.
It's part of the job. Right. Yes, it is. Right, okay. And everywhere I went, where's Skinner? Where's Skinner?
And what did you tell them? You didn't invite me to all these great parties.
I actually had a date last night, and my date's like, what's that all about?
You had a date. Now there's breaking news. What can you tell us?
That's nothing. So, when are you going to be? Here's the deal. For our viewers at home, Jane Skinner is extremely important this week because she's anchoring hours and hours of this coverage, and as a result, she can't come down here and be in the Ville.
I'm so important. That's because everybody's on vacation or down in Madison Square Garden. Now, about this date, any information? Did anyone see you? Could I ask somebody else? What
come on. We don't talk about this stuff. We don't talk about that stuff here.
But you know that's the email I'm going to get.
Tell me about Roger.
What?
See, there it works.
Roger Ailes is my boss.
Okay,
See, now the rumors are going to start.
I was talking to Kevin McGee and Jeff Hark, and they tell me you may be able to come down here for Wednesday and Thursday.
Okay.
Because everybody here wants to meet Skinner.
Oh, I'm sure they do. They're just looking for snacks. They're going to be hungry by that day.
You got to bake.
I do like it how you're down there, though, amongst the people.
It's kind of fun, right?
You're not in one of those stuffy skyboxes.
I've been looking for that weird Wolf Blitzer character, but I can't find him.
You will.
Look who's up there now. Governor Pataki is up there. Governor Pataki, of course, will be one of the ones who's speaking. And they've all been coming up doing some mic testing. I don't know if you can see these little things. Tommy Chu, can you give us a shot? See the prompter stand there? That little stand there in the front, you can see the glass there. That reflects the teleprompter into that. So as the speakers look out in the audience, they look to the right, they can look at the one on the right, look to the left, they can look at the one on the left, and that's where the words are.
Don't tell me they're cheating.
They cheat. We all cheat, Jane. You know that.
I can't believe it. I'm so disappointed.
It's sad, isn't it?
Poor Tommy Chu. Are you driving him crazy down there?
Tommy Chu is shooting
Pataki
right now. Yeah. What are we doing? Oh, there's another teleprompter over there. Show them that right over there. There's teleprompters all over the house. Go right over there. Oh. See that big plasma over there? They had a big prompter. Jane, even I could read that one.
Wow. So can all the delegates probably, too, right?
I know. Kind of cool, right?
Yeah.
So we got to, Jane, it's good to see you, and I'll see you down here on Wednesday, okay?
Okay.
I got to get over to Martha MacCallum now. Martha is like on the other side of MSG. That's like where the Knicks would be sitting and losing, probably. Hello, Martha.
Yeah, I know.
Hi.
Are you there, Martha?
I am. Can you? I don't know if you can see me, but I'm not too far away from you. As we're
I see you in your leather. You're looking good.
Thank you, sir. I was watching over my shoulder, Senator Pataki.
Governor
Pataki. Thank you, Shepard.
Yeah, you're welcome.
So we want to talk a little bit about the meeting that we had this morning with the Bush-Cheney folks and tell you that basically what you're going to hear a lot of tonight is that they are on message, that they have been doing a good job, that they want to continue to do the job that he was elected to do 4 years ago. And one of the most important, one of the most significant moments of tonight will clearly be the speech by Senator John McCain. John McCain is somebody who was basically tug-of-war over between John Kerry and President Bush in terms of wanting him to be a big part of their campaign. campaign. John McCain will be standing up there tonight, really, sort of emblematic of the rocky relationship that the president and John McCain, who has a history of being extremely independent, have shared. But, you may remember back in 2000, John McCain soundly beat George Bush in the primary in New Hampshire. Then, of course, John Kerry was courting him to be his vice presidential candidate. But tonight, John McCain will stand on that stage, and in many ways, he will represent the swing voter. He's going to be the person who stands up there and says, look, I don't agree with President Bush on every single thing, but when it comes to the war on terror, I believe that President Bush is on message. This is what we're expecting to hear tonight from John McCain, and that will be a very significant message because these conventions, just like they did in Boston, are speaking squarely to the swing voter. You're going to hear a lot of moderate discussion tonight, and you're going to hear from people like Giuliani as well. Expect to see a very moving 9/11 tribute. There will be comments by 3 of the families who lost people on September 11th. And look for the September 11th event to be put squarely in the context of this presidency. They are clearly saying that they do not want to run away from it. They consider it to be an integral part of President Bush's presidency, and that they do not see it as exploiting that moment in history, but that is something that was an integral moment in his presidency, and that the two can simply not be divided. You can, differ on how you feel about how the administration has handled things since September 11th, but they squarely want to put their record on the beginning of what happened with those events on that day, Shep.
They take some risks with that, don't they, Martha?
Yeah.
I know that the other side is going to be screaming, look, you are using 9/11 for politics, but of course both sides are.
That's true. And it's interesting, though, and very characteristic of the Bush administration, that the way that they have done things is that they're saying, no, this is an event. It's an important one. We embrace the impact that it had on this country, and we were a part of it. We continue to be a part of it, and that so far, nothing else, God forbid, has happened on domestic soil, at least, and that part of the reason is their strategy in handling the war on terror. You're going to hear a lot of that tonight. You're
going to be working the floor on prime time tonight, Martha, right?
I sure will.
So where are you going to be? Who are you going to try to talk to? What's going to happen?
Well, we're going to try to grab some of those speakers as they come on to rehearse. We also understand that later on tonight, Arnold Schwarzenegger may be coming into the hall. We know that he's been working on his speech very hard. He considers this to be a very pivotal moment in his political career. He doesn't want to overshadow the president, but clearly he wants that to be a big moment for himself. So we may catch a few moments with him after the speakers finish tonight as he comes onto the floor to test out those teleprompters that you were just showing everybody.
Good stuff, Martha.
He's pretty good at reading those, I think, though.
No doubt. Martha
right,
MacCallum, one of our on-the-floor reporters, on the floor and on the fly tonight during Fox News Channel's primetime coverage, which is hosted by the man, Brit Hume. And then we go through the night with Hannity and Combs and Mr. O'Reilly, and Greta Van Susteren wraps up your night late night. Hope you'll be with us for the best convention coverage from the most powerful name in politics, Brit Hume and the Fair and Balanced team out of D.C. Governor Pataki promised us when he gets through up there that he's going to come down and have a little speech with us, or a little talk with us. One thing about these guys who get up and speak, they have a lot of people around them. They don't get to make their own decisions. So we'll talk to Governor Pataki in just a minute. But first, I want to get a little bit of other news in and get to Alecia Acuna, who's out in Eagle, Colorado, where it's a brand new day in the Kobe Bryant trial. Alecia, what up?
Hi, Shep. Well, this is the first day that these prospective jurors are coming face-to-face with Kobe Bryant. Attorneys today questioning these candidates behind closed doors. This morning, Judge Terry Ruckriegel rejected a request by a number of media organizations, including Fox News, to open this initial questioning to the public so that we would be able to bring that information to you. The judge, however, ruled that the juror candidates' right to privacy outweighed the First Amendment on this one. That's because the potential jurors are being asked 6 questions that are sensitive in nature, including whether the candidates had any personal experience with sexual assault, any racial prejudice they have, and whether they've already formed an opinion over Bryant's guilt or innocence. As I mentioned, Bryant is in court today for voir dire and is now expected to be in Eagle for the remainder of the trial. Local realtors say that he has rented 2 large mountain homes and hired a butler, maid, and chef. Now, getting back to jury selection, the judge spent part of Sunday with the attorneys in this case as they went over the answers candidates gave on a questionnaire given to them on Friday. This was the first part of the whittling down process. Prospective jurors had to answer in writing questions about their opinions on interracial dating, if they have strong feelings on marital infidelity, and if they've ever had a negative experience with an African American. Now, still to be decided whether the judge will grant a hearing, a request by the prosecution on this one. They have some concerns over the possibility of some of the DNA evidence being contaminated. The judge says if he does decide on having a hearing, it could delay the trial. As it stands, Shep, opening statements are set to begin on September 7th, and hopefully you could hear me. Unfortunately, the timing for me was bad. The guy kept cutting the grass right next to me as I was telling you about jury selection.
You know, and our problem here has been that they keep vacuuming, but I guess the vacuuming is done for
Oh, yeah, see? It's hard to hear yourself when that happens.
I know. Alecia Acuna live outside our newsroom in Eagle, Colorado. Alecia, thanks very much. As you can see from RF7, Tommy Chu's cam, the governor of New York is still warming up. You know, the fact of the matter here is, if the Republicans don't win this time, 4 years from now, that's a guy who might be running for president. Would he? Of course, I'll ask him that question in just a minute when he comes down here, and he won't answer it. He'll want to talk about this particular team, and that's his job along the way. In the meantime, you know, there are big storms brewing. A tropical storm came in and hit the Carolinas over the weekend, and now there's a big one that's a Category 3. I think it's churning for Florida. Janice Dean, the weather machine's in the Fox Weather Center in New York. Janice, what's the word on that one? Starts with a G, right?
We have Gaston, which of course is moving through the Carolinas like you mentioned, and that moved through over the weekend. We also have Tropical Storm Hermine, which is going to affect southeastern Massachusetts. We have tropical storm warnings. That's probably going to hit land, if it does, tomorrow afternoon, producing a lot of rain for places like Cape Cod. Let's take a look at Tropical Storm Gaston, or what's left of him. He is a tropical depression right now. And again, we have tornado watches and warnings for parts of southern Virginia because of the remnants of this storm. We're expecting it to move more north and east, and parts of the northeast is going to feel the remnants of this tropical storm overnight tonight. All right, Tropical Storm Francis, now a hurricane, a strong Category 3. As we move in and show you the projected path of Francis, 120 miles per hour winds inside the storm, and by Tuesday, as you can see by this path, it's moving north of the Virgin Islands, north of Puerto Rico, and north of the Dominican Republic, but through the Bahamas. So you're going to see some watches and warnings for parts of the Bahamas as we move through the work week. And then as we move towards the weekend, this is where we are going to see this cone of discrepancy. It could move anywhere from Florida to the Carolinas, and of course we will keep you posted. But by this weekend, Shep, mainly Labor Day, we could see a very powerful Category 3, Category 4 hurricane. Its name is Francis.
Is it ripe for strengthening, Janice?
Yes.
I mean, is it your sense that this one's going to be as big as the last one? Is it a Hugo? Is it an Andrew? What is it?
They are predicting that this one is going to strengthen as it moves eastward, Shepard, and definitely a force to be reckoned with, and we'll follow it for you as closely as we can. But for now, if you live in those regions, Florida to Carolinas, you want to make preparations now.
Yeah, should have made preparations months ago. Janice Dean, the weather machine. Janice, thank you.
You bet.
With me now is the governor of New York, Governor George Pataki, who will be speaking here on Thursday night. Governor, good to see you.
Nice to see you.
What's your message here?
Well, I think we want the American people to see and hear and feel the President Bush that I know, and that's someone who's provided extraordinary leadership to America and cares deeply about Americans. This isn't about the President. This is about his policies, his leadership, his belief that the people of America, when given the right leadership, can accomplish anything, and I just want the American people to see that.
The New York delegation, if you will, you, Rudy Giuliani, and the rest, Arnold Schwarzenegger as well, seem to be a little bit off the platform. How do you reconcile those differences between the contract with the people and the voices on the stage?
Shepard, there are two issues that really, in my mind, dominate the future of our country. The first is protecting us in the war against terror. We've been attacked, and certainly we know that here in New York. And what we need is someone who's going to understand and lead us in a way where we're going to win that war, so we won't be attacked again here in New York or anywhere in America, and that's President Bush. The other is the economy. And over the course of the last 12 months, this president has created more than 1.5 million new jobs. His tax cuts are working. His economic policies are working. With this president, we're going to have a stronger economy, more jobs, a stronger America, and a victory in the war against terror.
I'm going to talk to Don Evans, the Commerce Secretary, about those items that you just mentioned. There's another way to look at those numbers, and the Democrats will come at you and say, the zero net gain in jobs, 1 million new people from a year ago in poverty, 1 million new people have no health insurance. There are some economic concerns, and the question is, will you be able to get past those problems?
These are very difficult times, and when I think of this president's leadership, we have to understand that he inherited a recession. We saw the consequences, not just the personal and human consequences of September 11th, but the economic consequences that are still with us today. And yet, despite that, we're coming out of recession. We're creating 1.5 million new jobs. And if we continue the leadership of this president for 4 more years, we'll have more opportunity, more jobs, a stronger economy, and certainly a stronger America.
Governor George Pataki of the state of New York. Thursday night, we know what Thursday night means. Thursday nights are reserved for presidents and rising stars. Does that mean if this president doesn't get reelected that 4 years from now you'll be running?
This president's going to be reelected, and we're going to have a great President Bush for the next 4 years.
Good luck to you, Governor. Thank you very much. All right, Governor George Pataki of the state of New York, who, as I mentioned, is going to be speaking here at the RNC on Thursday. I think we need to hit a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we'll speak with Don Evans, the Commerce Secretary, about the new numbers that are out today on the economy and the numbers that we got over the weekend. That's all on a special edition of Studio B at the RNC in MSG and NYC. You know the drill. See you in a bit.